Welcome to the season finale of Music with Harry, the best and only music show on the internet. Now, today you can see I am not in the lounge. I'm in my bedroom today. It's a bit of a weird setup. I've got my Mac down here, as you can see, on the key cam. I've got my keyboard, got a mic, which is a bit different. I haven't got my pop filter on because I don't have my pop filter on, so sorry if you get hit with plosives. So yes, I'm in my bedroom. It's a bit of a different setup today, but as you can tell, I've gained a MacBook in the process of producing the series, so I can now show you a few things that I couldn't show you back in episode 2 when we were analysing my composition from GarageBand. Okay, but first today I'm going to be talking about something called an arrangement. Okay, these are very similar to compositions, however, it's your take on a pre-existing song by a different artist. Okay, so the arrangement that I've written, that I'm going to show you today, is "The Power of Love" by Huey Lewis and the News, featuring the Tower of Power. Now, the Tower of Power is like a brass and some woodwind instruments group. Okay, and they perform alongside the Tower, alongside Huey Lewis and the News on some of their tours and that kind of thing. So I'll give you a little listen to the intro and before we get to the verse, and I'll just explain a few things after that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that is the first intro. So we've got the okay, I just love it so much. It's such a great song. So we're going to follow the same criteria that I set out in episode 1, way back in episode 1. It seems ages ago, that I set out for when you're writing a composition. So first off, we're thinking about what is the purpose of this arrangement? Why are we performing an arrangement? And for me, this was for school competition, Stars in Your Eyes. Okay, so within that, we're not trying to make a radical new composition, okay, or a rendition of the original piece. We are wanting to keep it fairly similar, okay. So that's my take on this piece and what I needed from it. I also needed, this goes into instrumentation, a small brass section, so it was a trumpet and 2 trombones, and then a normal band setup, so drums, guitar, a lead guitar, not rhythm guitar. They do some rhythm stuff, but it is a lead guitar. Bass, if I didn't say it already. Keys. In this, there's 3 different voices for the keys, but we only need one keys player. And then your vocalist. Okay, it's fairly standard setup, but we've also got that brass section on that is part of the reason why I notated this. Okay, within your arrangement, you can have a bit of creative license, I suppose. In the original song, there's a guitar solo. You kind of need to keep that in, but you could add a brass solo as well, a short one, maybe a keys synth solo or something. A key change at the end, potentially. That kind of thing you can add in if you wanted. However, we're not going to completely change the style and make it something completely different. It's going to be pretty similar. Okay, that's our basic idea around the arrangement. Now, as a keys player, for my actual exams, my graded exams, every exam I've done, I've had to create an arrangement. Okay, not to the depth of this of creating a score in a MIDI file. It's mainly just with your style, with your voice, and we create a different version of that song, okay, from the book. Okay, so for instance, for my grade 6 that I'm going to do soon, I have done an arrangement of The Most Beautiful Girl in the World by Prince. Okay, and you don't want to stray too far from the original song's genre, okay? You want to change it a bit in this circumstance, but we're not going to keep it exactly the same. But again, we're not going to create, something really mad and busy and obscure. It's going to be just a bit different, okay? So it's all about thinking about what is the purpose of my arrangement and who's playing it and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's sort of the arrangement bit to that side of kind of, it's a bit of a bit of a whistle stop tour of arrangements. There's obviously a lot more you can go in more in depth, but as an overall sense, that is sort of it. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the main event, which is performing your composition. Okay, so over here you can see I've got GarageBand open on my Mac. Essentially, it's the same piece that I showed you in episode 2. Okay, it's that same composition that was for my GCSE. Okay, but now it's in GarageBand as an MP rather than an MP3, and that means what I can do is mute tracks and perform. Okay, so when you're performing your own composition, there's a few different things you can do. If you're performing it on your own and you have other instruments within it, you will need to open up GarageBand or whatever DAW you're using and maybe mute a few tracks or that kind of thing so you can play them, okay? And that gets the kind of the performance aspect in there. But if you've got other people playing with you, obviously you won't need to do that. You'll just need to make sure they know what they're doing and everything in the just the same as if you're performing a normal song or arrangement or something. Okay, so there's a few other things you can do. So if you have a loop pedal, you can create sort of a live composition using a loop pedal. So if you play something like a melody, let me think. You could get that looping through a loop pedal on the floor. Okay, it's most often used in guitars and some vocals. Like Ed Sheeran uses it. He has a massive one on the floor that he has lots of different tracks on, and he basically builds the songs up when he's performing live through his loop pedal. Okay, and that's through percussive elements on the guitar, the actual melody and chord progression, and his vocals. But you could also essentially use a loop pedal with anything that has a jack in that you would plug into an amp or something. So I could do that with my keyboard. You could do it with an electronic violin if you wanted, ukulele, anything really that you can plug in, and then you just feed it into the loop pedal, and etc. I haven't done it myself. It's all down to you, I suppose, and how advanced your loop pedal is. But I don't have a loop pedal, as I just said, so I'm going to show you how I will perform this composition. I've muted the guitar track on here. I don't know if you can see that on the key cam, but I muted it. It's just grey there, and I'm going to now play the guitar line for you as a bit of a, I suppose, show-stopping number or whatever. So here we go. Okay, let's make sure everything's right. Then let's get going. And there we go. That is sort of what you would do. Now, I cheated a bit in that, okay? And that's the beauty of live performance. You can cheat a little bit in some places. So, in those two last key changes, I just used my transposable stubber keyboard. Okay, obviously, piano players, basically everyone else can't do that. But that's the advantage of using such a powerful instrument like the keyboard. So hopefully you could see that, how I was playing that on there, and you're using the buttons and the pitch and mod wheel maybe. Don't know if you could see that or not. But that is essentially how you perform that kind of piece. Now, if you wanted to do something different, so if you wanted to instead play the piano, you just mute that on there instead. There probably is a way if you wanted to change instruments halfway through, if you had someone else to unmute them or whatever, or there's probably higher spec programs might be able to do that. But obviously, I'm just using GarageBand, so I can't do that. There might be a way, I'm not entirely sure, but you get the general gist. You could essentially mute any of the tracks and go for it. You could even, if you really wanted to, you could mute the rhythm track or whatever the pattern was. Okay, so there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed that epic performance there at the end, and I hope you've enjoyed this series. It's been an absolute blast to make and to see what you guys think of it. Hopefully, if there's enough support and I upgrade some of my equipment, because I mean this camcorder is sort of mid 2000s. It's a bit rusty. I'm using my webcam. I've got just a normal everyday household lamp lighting me, and what I was gonna do, I was gonna put my coloured lamp, like in the little advert, had a coloured lamp behind me, but for some reason, because my webcam is so absolutely rubbish, it just isn't very good. So it didn't look very good, and it made the colours all weird, and you could actually see the colour is very strange. So that's why it's more of a basic background. But so thank you very much, guys, for watching this season. It's been fun to make, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. So thank you very much, folks, and I will see you. Well, not in the next one. I'll see you later. Bye.
You've been watching a Harry Tube production starring Harry Tallis, made and produced on Harry's laptop,
Which is now internally combusted.
We hope you've enjoyed the first series of Music with Harry.
And music Yamaha style, please don't sue me.